granniopteryx, she knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello. As we've seen, some governments are a bit reluctant to involve themselves in the tussle over Iran. And I suspect a lot of that's to do with the fact they know about Iranian ambitions in the Western world. And there's no doubt that they are worried about the snakes they have taken to their breasts. But if you happen to be one of those people who think that the Republic stalwarts are more sinned against than sinning, perhaps you might consider this little conversation here between a mullah and an interviewer on Iranian television. Not this guy. It's a bit further on. He just happened to post it. Let's get further on to that. Okay, in the event that you don't understand Farsi and you're just listening to this rather than looking at the screen for the subtitles, I'll read the subtitles out to you so that it's absolutely clear what this mullah is saying. I'll set the ground here before we start. It starts off by the interviewer saying that 42,000 people have been killed already, and the mullah responds, "So what?" In other words, he doesn't deny that figure, and he's talking not about the enemy in the sense of a foreign invasion. He's talking about mostly young and absolutely unarmed people who happen also to be his fellow citizens. Well, perhaps not his own fellow citizens, because he obviously doesn't regard them in any way as his fellow citizens. He regards them as material to be used for the furtherance of his Islamic ambitions and the Islamic ambitions of all of his colleagues, of course, and nothing more than that. If they refuse to be used for that purpose, then they're no use at all, and so are completely expendable. 10,000, 30,000, 40,000, it doesn't matter. Certainly, they don't have any human value as far as he's concerned. Now, I will play this clip, but I want to tell you before I do, I found it very useful because it confirmed something that I wasn't too sure about before. You may have noticed that in my previous videos, if you've been watching them, I've never actually quoted the numbers of dead protesters without also saying that we can't be sure about those numbers. Look, it's war, and numbers like that always get inflated or deflated by one side or the other. The Iranians keep bumping up the numbers of those schoolgirls supposedly killed in a US strike on a school. Well, I've seen people saying that the missile that appeared to drop in that area wasn't a Tomahawk. You know, what? I have no idea. And then the numbers killed, first it was 40 and then it was 80 and now it's 169. And only idiots take statistics like that for the truth. By the way, I'm not denying them. I'm just saying they are at present, well, you might say, subject to review. For instance, I've read that the names of some of the kids named in the casualty list appear to be in yearbooks or social postings from other schools. But again, that could be misinformation as well. So yes, I'm always sceptical about figures, and certainly I am sceptical about figures coming from the Iranian side, also from Israel and the US. So back to the number of dead protesters. Again, all sorts of numbers have popped up, but in this case, I'd say we have independent confirmation from this very guy here. Because here we have that man, well, if you choose to call him a man, not only not denying the figure of 42,000 that the interviewer pitched at him, but glorying in it. So I reckon that's near enough to a confirmation, and the dismissive way he treats that number should tell you everything you need to know about the morality of the Iranian regime. OK, let's just play this. 42,000 people have been killed. This is the interviewer talking. And this is going a little fast. The Mullah says, so what? Let be more. So this guy says 42,000 have been killed, and the Mullah says, so what? Let be more. Yeah, there should be more, or there could be more. I don't care. Half the world could be killed, he says. The Imam once said, even if the superpowers would hang all of us, just a minute, and then he says Basijis, I suppose he means all of the mullahs and the Basijis, but that's just my guess from this subtitling here. Even if the superpowers would hang all of us, Basijis, the world's Islamic mobilizers, all right, that's how he regards himself, and take all our women captive, it would be worth it to get to your destination. That destination being the end of the world and the coming of the 12th Imam. I suppose most of you know about that. The concentration of this particular brand of Islam is that the whole world has to descend into chaos, fire and destruction, and then out of the flames the 12th Imam is going to appear and bring an unending Islamic caliphate to the whole world. And the mullahs, well, let's get back to this fellow, people like him, see it as their job to create that scenario. I mean, I am merely a weak and feeble woman, but it occurs to me that if Allah is the greatest, then he should be able to do all that without the interference of people like this fellow here. But then, as I said, what do I know? Now, let's get back to the little bit of the conversation here and just go over that again. Even if the superpowers would hang all of us, Basijis, the world's Islamic mobilizers, and take all of our women captive, it will be worth it. Just think about that for a split second, and you'll get an idea of the primitivity inside that mind. Look at him. He looks so well groomed, doesn't he? The nice, neatly trimmed beard. So well dressed. So civilised. And what's going on inside that mind of his? All about men being hanged while their women are taken captive, which is, of course, the original Mohammedan model of the outcome and purpose of making war. The purpose of making war being to expand your empire and your wealth by killing all the men and trading the women as slaves for various purposes. Ironically enough, I made a video just last week featuring Tucker Carlson, who was saying the same thing. I played a clip of a show that Carlson had broadcast in which he quoted Donald Trump's demand that the Iranians, that is the Iranian regime, unconditionally surrender. And then what Carlson then said was that unconditional surrender meant that the Iranians, all of them, would be turning over their women to be raped. which to my mind was a calumny on American soldiers. Trump obviously doesn't have any plan at all to put American troops onto Iranian soil as an invading army. It's total nonsense what that imam is saying and what Carlson was saying. It betrays a medieval mindset that's actually impossibly out of date, not even medieval, but just for, I don't know what, 20 or 30 years ago. The Israelis don't need boots on the ground anymore. They're picking off the Basiji checkpoints with drones, and they're removing enemy commanders with targeted missiles and exploding personal electronics. No, the Americans and the Israelis appear to be quite content to assassinate the commanders and leave the Iranian people to sort out their own problems thereafter. And what I find both sinister and laughable is how easily Carlson caught that virus of primitivity. Apparently, from what people are saying are his paymasters. Of course, I don't know anything about that. I'm just saying that that's the gossip going round. But back to the Mullah. At least he has the excuse of having been brought up in that sort of sword-waving attitude. Tell you what, though, I'm playing around now with the idea of making a shortish video studying the difference between the Arabic and the Hebrew words for war. They are rather interesting. And as Orwell said in his famous essay, Politics and the English Language, language shapes thought. And I haven't I haven't found a better explanation of the difference between Arabs and Israelis than in the study of the roots of their languages. Anyway, that's probably for another video. Meanwhile, here, let's just play that Müller again. 42,000 people have been killed now. So what? Let's be more. Half the world could be killed. The Imam once said, even if the superpowers would hang all of us, Basijis, the world's Islamic advisors, and take all our women captive, it would be worth it to get to our destination. The destination being the Muslim apocalypse and the appearance of the 12th Imam. Now, anyone who thinks that it's possible to negotiate with that sort of a mindset is just as mad as that Mullah. And anyone who doesn't believe that given half a chance and the right arsenal of weapons, people like that guy wouldn't start this end of the world apocalypse is also as mad as he is. Right, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.